It's May, and I am here to start a new project on something that has been really close to my heart for a really long time. Something that I've been wanting to play it out into the world more, but I also have had a lot of questions about it. So I'm starting this new adventure where I am going to do a YouTube channel dedicated to how I wrote my book. Now, you can Google a million things out there. How do I write a book? And you'll get a list. You can buy books that tell you how to read books. You can take classes, seminars. You just sit down and try to do it. It is a daunting task, to say the least. And I'll be honest, I'm not here to tell you how to technically do it. I can definitely go through and show how I started to use WordPress and do it one blog at a time. And then I went into Google Drive and I started saving there, and how I got an editor through some websites to help me. Sure, yeah, I can tell you about that, but you can find all that online. People might even charge you thousands of dollars for it. But what I'm here for is to not only help you see how I went through the process, but also to share my story with you. And hopefully, it's an adventure we can take together. And if you have any thoughts or ideas or want to chat or anything through this process, I'm going to be covering my life from before I was born, of what little I know, up through about my mid-20s. And I'm also working on my next book now. So I felt like this was a time for me to do this. So I'll just start right now, and you'll see more of this unfold as I go through. But how did I start writing a book about my life? How do I have the memories? I'll tell you what, well, I'm going to share some things. First, you start with letters. I've kept hundreds and hundreds of letters and cards over the years. That's how I was able to go through and see how many houses I've lived in, what states, what were the addresses, who was in my life at the time, what was going on. We'll get to it in my book, but there's a part of me that became quite a hoarder over time. But you know what? It served me and one purpose. And spoiler alert, I did purge a lot of stuff a few years ago. I can talk about that in another section. There's just having these has really helped me just trace my background. So there's that. I lost a lot when I was a kid. I lived in almost 40 houses before I was 14, 30, 40. I wrote it. I know I'm already forgetting. I guess I can reference. Here's my book that I wrote. If you go on Amazon right now, it has a different cover, but one of my dear friends designed this for me. I did end up changing it to a picture of me when I was a little girl, just because I felt like really connected with that. But this is the OG cover. And yes, I did publish under a pseudonym because at the time I was worried about my mom. Okay, so yeah. Okay, so by the time I wrote this, I lived in 42 homes in 7 different states. That was a few years ago. I've definitely had some changes since then, but okay, I digress. Other ways you can find memories. My grandmother gave this to me. She had this in her garage from Ohio for decades. And after we reconnected, she knew it was for me. There are just, it's not a lot. It's just this one little thing, but it's filled with letters and drawings, my old school books, stuff from my parents. Again, it's not a lot, but I really poured over every single word. And I'll share more about that later. In the first chapter, we're going to get into this. And I have a couple of albums from when I was a kid, only a couple. I have my journals, even though they've been damaged and worn out. I keep them in a fireproof zippy case thing now. They're one of my most treasured things that I have, because I started them in high school into my 20s. And these two specifically, I definitely kept going after that, not quite as intensely, but this captured a lot of stuff that, if not for these, it would have gone into my compartmentalized black hole of a brain that was trying to protect me from all the trauma I had gone through and was going through. You hug your Mr. Bear that you've had since you were 6 and brings you back to some memories. Yeah, I love Mr. Bear. I don't care. I still sleep with him sometimes. I love him. You may reconnect with your dad after 12 years, and he might have something he wrote after your mom kidnapped you, after he kidnapped you. And it might be filled with timelines and his version of what happened during that time. It might take you 15 years to read this till you're ready to write your book that you actually are able to dig into it. And then you might have some other just random things through the years that you kept somehow, some way, a book that you wrote when you were 10, awards that you received since you were in elementary, and certificates and all this stuff and ribbons. Drug free Mississippi. Okay. And I definitely am going through some more stuff. My plan is to, read each chapter and share with you the memory, the thing that gave me that memory, to tap into that and how I expanded upon that, because trust me, it is not easy. And there's a lot of stuff that I went through. Do I share this? Do I not? Is this real? Is it not? Talked to family. I talked to, I guess, the family that I am still talking to, or still had my life. And it was a really long process. And so everything that I have in my book is to the best of my memory, what others have told me, and what these memories, these tangible memories that I've collected over time tell me. And let's do it. I'm ready to dive in with y'all. So stay tuned for the first. Well, I guess I'll do the prologue first and then we'll get into the first chapter. All right. Comment again, please comment below. Would love to hear any thoughts or ideas or shared experiences that you have. And please like and subscribe if you want. First time I'm ever saying that. Okay. Talk soon. Be well.